start Crimson Doubles just yet because for the first one, I've got to look at the thing to see what weapons faction rallies have, and so yeah, don't want to do that too bad or first. So just give people a second to get in here, and then we can talk about this. Actually, let me make sure I'm live. See, it's really nice that rip. It's really nice that I upgraded my computer because now I can do so many things at once, and it doesn't lag and all that nonsense. It's great. Let's see if we are live. Maybe. Oh, I think we are. YouTube has also been doing this thing where it doesn't properly notify people of anything, so that's pretty fun.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's showing you live on mine.
Sweet.
So
Let me switch.
yeah.
Send out a tweet. Okay, and so we got that. Let me go more. Make sure the stream's labeled all the same stuff and whatnot. Make sure refresh my chat. Think we are Gucci. Yeah, I just used that word.
Yeah, that happened. Didn't I use that before you ever used it? And you're like, that's the worst word ever.
Yeah, I adopted it. Don't you know that's how I work, man? It's like
okay.
I find things that really annoy me, and then I start using them to mock people, and then I actually start saying them. Like I adopt it.
Because you just start saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty then. Well, we'll go ahead and start. I'm not sure if anyone's talking. I find it kind of weird that no one would join in yet, but
It says there's 5, but I'm one of them. So
yeah, I think like I said, YouTube's been having some problems, so we'll see how this turns out. We'll see. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah, we're getting people talking now. Awesome. So, hey guys, Scareline here. Welcome back to the Last Word Podcast, episode 51. Joined as always by my co-host JZ Basketball.
what's up?
Woot woot. So we got some very, very exciting things to talk about today, and we'll be playing some Crimson Doubles in the background. So let's hopefully using half of my brain and JZ's brain will be all right during this, but we'll know, man. So yes, people are saying chat was glitched. I thought so because usually people are really quick about it. YouTube's been having hernias lately. Anyways, so what we are going to be doing, like I said, the main discussion for today is going to be talking about which of the exotics in the game actually need to be buffed with the new update. But that's, as usual, we save the main discussion topic for kind of last. So just to go over some things that happened this week and that will happen next week, next Tuesday, in 3 or 4 days or whatever, I don't know what day it is. It's Friday, because that's when we do the podcast, Jay-Z.
Yep.
Look at that.
All day today, it's Friday. Yeah.
So next week in the faction rallies, they're going to be adding a lot of new weapons into the loot pool, unlike the last time. So we get the 3 winners weapons from last time, all 3 auto rifles from, one from each faction. That will be added into the engram pool. And then in addition to those, a new Monarchy scout rifle, a linear fusion rifle for Dead Orbit, and a Future War Cult hand cannon will also all be added into the engram pools. And then the winners, if new Monarchy wins, there will be a Hawk-A pulse rifle. If Dead Orbit wins, there will be just a pulse rifle. It looks like the Scathehawk, but it's a pulse rifle. It's kind of weird. And if Future War Cult wins, there will be a scout rifle. So, just right off the bat, I don't know, I'll probably do all the faction rally stuff. I still have to grind out some of my ornaments for Season 2. Faction rallies don't really excite me all that much. It's just not my type of event, honestly. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm excited that they're adding actually a lot of new weapons this time, unlike the last one. and hopefully it's received really well by the community. I think that'd be pretty cool. Also, they are going to be fixing the farming exploit stuff. Well, they have fixed it. So essentially now, anytime you open the chest, you are required to kill the boss. So you cannot open it multiple times in a row without killing the boss first. So that's just something to keep in mind as you guys are, playing and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Jay-Z, at this point, is there anything that really interests you about the faction rallies?
Not really. I mean, it's fun earning new things. It matters how good the stuff is. That's basically for. I mean, I don't know how good those pulse rifles are going to be. I don't like Hawk pulse rifles normally, so I don't think it's going to be that much better. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah. That's the sort of thing. They're always kind of mundane. I'm really excited to get that Dead Orbit auto rifle that we should have got last time, but people like New Monarchy too much for some reason. So I'll be really excited to actually get that, see if it's any good. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of... I think faction rallies are sort of at a point where they're not as interesting as any of the other events in Destiny 2 currently. I think even Iron Banner is so much better. You have something amazing like Crimson Days. It just kind of shies in comparison, which is all right because we don't always need something insane going on in the world of Destiny. My exam schedule is actually very happy. We always don't have something going on in Destiny, but it's just... I feel like they could do something to make factions a little bit more rewarding in Destiny 2. I just don't know what it is. Maybe exotics, season exotics and that kind of stuff. Yeah, New Monarchy will probably win again, in my opinion. Do you think Future War Cult will take anything?
No, it's either going to be Dead Orbit or New Monarchy. It's what it always is.
Yeah.
So I don't see any differences.
This will be 3 times in a row for New Monarchy if they do happen to win it. So
yeah, I mean they have the best looking armor by far in my opinion. So
yeah,
that's kind of what people are going for.
And I already got all my Dead Orbit ornaments, so I don't even need to spend any time with them. Unfortunately, I'll probably just be trying to get the season 2 ships. So we'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah, I just hope they find a way to make those more interesting in future seasons, I guess. But that's, speaking of a bad event, going into what an event should look like, we have Crimson Days. Man, Jay-Z, I don't know how much I've actually talked about with you about Crimson Days, but it is my favorite Destiny event ever. Limited time event. Age of Triumph doesn't count. I feel like it's the most rewarding. I have put the most time into it pretty much of any event. I don't know. It's just, I've been having so much fun, which is really weird for me because I'm generally, like, I'm good at Crucible. I like Crucible, but I generally don't love Crucible in any of the games I play, honestly. And, I don't know. This one's just been doing something for me. It's kind of weird. So I really have been enjoying it. I'm glad that they finally got the loot structure down. It takes about 18 engrams to get absolutely everything. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't hard for me to get it all. It took probably about 7 hours of game time. So if you put 1 hour a day while the event's here into it, you should get all the rewards that you're looking for. Pretty good, if you ask me. Nothing unfair. All the shaders that drop from the end of match rewards, they dismantle into Bright Dust. So I mean, this event is like a Bright Dust farm. In addition to getting some awesome limited edition, items and stuff, I'm also now sitting on 5,000 Bright Dust as well. So
oh wow,
yeah. I mean, it's like I'm ready to go. This has been a great event for me. I'm still earning bright engrams and all that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely very, very, very happy with how this event has turned out. And yeah, I just hope they continue to make events this rewarding as we go through in Destiny. I don't want any more dawnings. I want stuff where I can actually play to actually get the rewards. And the fact that not only is all this stuff available through gameplay, but you literally cannot buy Crimson Engrams, that's awesome. So yeah, that's my spill on it. I don't know, man. Are you going to try to get some time in there this weekend? Try to get the at least some of the emotes and the weapon ornaments that probably won't be available anymore?
I might. I'm not like... See, Valentine's theme stuff is not my favorite stuff anyway, so it's not a huge deal to me.
Have you seen the new Graviton Lance ornament?
No. Like, what is it?
Best ornament in the game. I'll put it on after this. Best ornament in the game. Yeah, definitely. And with the Graviton Lance buff that we will be talking about here, I'm really excited for the Graviton Lance to be just amazing because it looks amazing, the concept is amazing, and now hopefully finally it'll perform amazingly too. So that's something I'm pretty excited about as well. Let's see what chat has to say about the weapon, or excuse me, not the weapon, the faction rallies after, okay, well, that guy killed himself. They need to make better armor for future war cults so people actually want to choose from there. That's from Arlo. I absolutely agree with that. I feel like future war cult always gets the short end of the stick. They had a good weapon once, and they're just not going to win because their fashion isn't there. I just agree with that. Future war cult's at, like, an immediate disadvantage. So, yeah, they need to do something to make that a little bit more enjoyable. Before Big Vito, New Monarchy had the best ornaments, really stood out. Yeah, that's also true. I really like Dead Orbit's colors, but I do think that just the New Monarchy color scheme and you know, overall theme, I think that makes them really easy targets for just great designs. So I think they will inherently stick out probably for the rest of Destiny, which is, you know, they happened in Destiny 1 as well. Mirat Orim, I must not have caught the update, but why did the devs take out the elimination part of the event? So there was never an elimination part of Crimson Days. It was theoreticized. I thought they would bring back either Rumble or elimination with it, but it turns out they're pushing those back, and they're actually not going to be part of this event. They just added the game modes into the database around the same time as they added Mayhem, and people were like, oh, Mayhem got added. What else is going to be getting added? You know, these other two game modes that got added at the same time, they must be coming to the game. Wow, Jay-Z, you really pulled your weight that game, man.
I did.
Yeah, so, I mean, overall, Elimination will be returning. I think Crucible is taking huge strides in the right direction. I'm very excited to see what's going on there, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Dead memes. I've already got all the weapon ornaments for Crimson Days. Took no time at all. First of all, awesome username. It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was really, like I said, I played for like 6 or 7 hours, got absolutely everything in the event. And that's not just everything I wanted, that is everything. So, yeah, I mean, and there's something for everyone. You know, obviously Crimson Doubles is going to be the main focus, but for the people who like PvE, you have the emote, you have the Diesel Punk ornament that you can only get from the raid, that sort of stuff. So there's something for everyone. I think this event was very well crafted. I do feel kind of bad for the people who, I've been getting these comments like, oh, I've been solo queuing, it's not that good, and blah, 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 but I think if you're solo queuing into an event literally built around having a great teammate, I think that's, I mean, you're not going to have a good time. It's like going snowboarding, but bringing a skateboard kind of thing. Like, you kind of have to play to the event's strengths. And I understand not everyone has a Crimson Bond or, you know, great friends or whatever. But, I mean, that's just kind of the thing that makes the game a lot better. So you should try to get some of those. Yeah, just, what do you think the next event is going to be, Jay-Z? Because now, you know, typically we wouldn't get any new events until next Festival of the Lost, right? So, but they have to, I believe, in my opinion at least, bridge the gap between DLC 2 and the September DLC. So what do you think they're going to do in between those?
Maybe like a 4th of July event. I don't know, because there's so many international players, so why that's not a... That wouldn't be a thing. Yeah. Trying to think what holidays fall between May and September, besides for Americans 4th of July.
I don't think they would single out an like American event though, because they don't really do like Christmas. The Dawning is like holiday themed. Yeah. I think they're very
maybe general. like a Summer Days event or something like that. Like they kind of do a Dawning event.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of, because there's really no like international holiday that I can think of in the summer. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is, or they're just going to rework some of like strikes or something like that, like they've done in the past.
It'd be cool to have like a summer solstice event as kind of like a counterpart to the Dawning. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have to, you know, there will be a live event in there. At least one. I mean, because that's a pretty good gap. Yeah, man. So next one, Tennessee fam. Hello, you two I feel... Oh, hello, you two. I feel that the faction rallies need new armor every time they come back. I just don't think from a development standpoint that's feasible. I like the once every season thing, because the season's only 3 months long. Like, that's not too bad. I think that's pretty good. What do you think, Jay-Z? In a perfect world... Well, I mean, if you got new armor every month, would it really be that important to you?
No, they don't have the development time for that. I'd rather them focus on something useful that's going to be, you know, stick with the game, like new maps or new modes that they can roll out in the future. Just new armor, it's so temporary, and you know who knows how long it can be in the game. So
right. Yeah. I actually, speaking of new maps, I really like what they're doing with the Destiny 1 maps and just releasing them like with events and stuff. So remaking the best ones, and I really like them. The Burnout is we haven't played it on stream yet. I've played it quite a few times. It's significantly smaller than Burning Shrine was. But it's like a good remake. Right now we're on the remade Shores of Time, Distant Shores. Really solid remake. I like that they're doing these, and they bring them thematically into the game, and it's not just like a complete waste of space. They actually kind of like do it really well, which I enjoy. Let's see. Arlo, I've had a great time playing solo. About half my matches have been solo, and personally I've had great fun. I think because a lot of people are also solo queuing, I think it's, a lot better. So there's that to look forward to. Tennessee fam, they need Guardian Olympics. That would be pretty cool. If there was like a competition event around the Olympics, that'd be pretty freaking cool. But it'd have to be like every 2 years. That'd be weird. Yeah, okay, so I guess we can go ahead and move into our main topic, because I don't really see anyone else discussing much else. I mean, I've been ranting about Crimson Days all week. Pretty much everyone has heard my opinions on that. It's so good. The main thing for this one, like we said at the beginning, is just going to be, the exotic changes. What exotics need to be changed? How much do they need to be changed? And all this is stemming from, we got information about the Graviton Lance, and the Graviton Lance is getting a huge amount of buffs. So it's going from a 3-round burst to a 2-round burst, which is quite weird. It's getting... Here, give me a sec. They're making the explosion bigger. They're increasing the damage of the explosion and adding some void projectiles. I'm guessing like Axiom darts, just to help it out, make it more usable. And then, in addition to that, the ragdoll body will shoot back and kind of upwards, but it'll float. It won't shoot back, so you're more likely to kill people. And then they added some aim assist, and they reduced the recoil of the burst. So, I mean, it got like 8 minor buffs, which is pretty crazy, because, I mean, that's a lot for just a focused buff. I'll be really interested to see how that plays out. So the kind of theme of this one, I want to go through all the exotics, or just the pertinent ones, and see which ones most badly need the buff. So the ones that are not getting buffs, Merciless Telesto, Wardcliff Coil, Mida, Colony, Legend of Acarius, and Vigilance Wing. Everything else is fair game, which is really cool. So I'm going to pull up a list of exotics real quick, and we're going to see which ones really need to be kind of touched up, because I feel like a lot of exotics are kind of in a bad spot in this game, so that's pretty important. All right, here we go. So I have my list. So Prometheus Lens is the first one I have on the list. I don't know. That one doesn't really need to be touched up. It's got its place, right? I don't know. Do you think Prometheus Lens needs anything done to it, Jay-Z?
I actually haven't tested it since they supposedly fixed it.
It's pretty good. You essentially have infinite ammo now. It's definitely more PvE than PvP oriented. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. Next one, Mida, they said they're not touching Sweet Business. This one's really interesting, because I feel like Sweet Business is already pretty good. I don't really know what they could do to make it much better without making it like super broken. I just don't know. I guess just generally just a blanket buff, I guess. Like if they make auto rifles a little bit better, which they honestly shouldn't, because auto rifles are pretty broken. Not broken, they're in a good place. So I don't know. I don't think Sweet Business really needs any bit of a buff. I actually think it's in a very good place currently. Cold Heart, Did they say they're not touching Cold Heart? They didn't say that they're not touching Cold Heart, but Cold Heart doesn't really need anything either. It's already pretty good. Wordcliff, they said they're not changing. Telesto, they said they are not changing. Rat King. This one's really interesting because I think Rat King does need to have more usability. What do you think they could do to Rat King to make it better without making it obviously broken?
They would have to buff the damage, like maybe even just buff PvE damage, because I know that they don't want excuse me, they don't want it to be too powerful in PvP, but they've already shown that they can differentiate between the two game modes, so
right,
just give it more damage. It shouldn't be that difficult.
I think one thing that would be really good with Rat King 2 is to make the invisibility longer. It's currently like 2 seconds long, and that's not very substantial. Make it like 5 seconds. As much as I hate invisibility in the game, it definitely has, you know, its kind of places, and that would definitely help with making it more usable, I think. So that's something they could do. Let's see what chat says. They could make ammo reserves better on Sweet Business. Yeah, they could do that. That's definitely a possibility. I don't see why they couldn't do that. That's something that wouldn't really hurt too much, especially in like PvP. So I'd be really interested to see what would happen if they did that. Let's see. Give me a second. I'm kind of gunfight. That I won. The next one, Sturm. I don't know what they could do for Sturm. I just feel like Sturm's in an unfortunate place where the way they kind of built it is with perfect synergy with your energy weapon, and it's just like, I don't know. Destiny doesn't really promote that very well, so I think they would have to do something, but also you can't promote it so much that it becomes broken. So I don't know. It needs to feel more powerful for sure. I just don't know how, and yeah, I don't know. Do you have any ideas for Sturm?
Well, it's a high impact hand cannon. As I just bombed that Nova bomb. It's a high impact hand cannon, which are not in a really good place right now in the game. So I don't know. Like they're gonna have to buff hand cannons as a whole, and that's the problem. Is they want to do that probably eventually. So then if they put too much buff on the Sturm right now, it's going to make it way overpowered, in my opinion. So
right,
I don't know. It's a tough one. Like the Graviton Lance was way too inaccurate to be used in either PvP or PvP, and it didn't do enough damage in PvE to make it a viable weapon. So now what they're doing is, I think, a good fix for it, but that has the ability to do stuff like that. I don't know if they per se have that, you know, like the Sturm, you can't give it more damage. It would be way overpowered, and I don't know what kind of perk you could give it to, maybe just like a high caliber or something, or does it already have high cal? I don't know.
The Sturm?
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
Or armor piercing, something like that. Like that's the only thing I can think of. So when they buff hand cannons, it might actually do something.
Yeah, maybe. That's one of those things. I don't know. It's kind of difficult. Sunshot. They didn't say they were not touching Sunshot, but I think Sunshot's in a pretty good place. It's usable.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those things that'll just be affected by like a blanket hand cannon nerf.
Well, Sunshot
or buff rather.
Sunshot's such a good PvE weapon.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I don't use it in the raids though. That's the thing. Like, maybe a bigger explosion radius.
I just don't think hand cannons are very good in like end game. I know a lot of people like better devils for the raid and stuff. I personally don't feel like they're a great fit for that type of activity. I know it's, like I said, not the most common opinion. I just feel like, I don't know, hand cannons feel really weak. Or maybe not as reliable. They have a really long reload time.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't kill as many enemies with... I just feel like they take longer. I don't know. I personally would rather like a scout rifle than a hand cannon.
Well, that's the thing, is the hand cannon's in the same range as a lot of the auto rifles, and they do the job of them so much better. And the ammo economy's better, reload's better, things like that. So
right,
like the hand cannon's supposed to be a punchy, like more powerful thing, but it doesn't feel more powerful than a like say some of the auto rifles or things like that. So in Destiny 1, hand cannons were king for half the game, and
Yeah.
I would like to see them like bring them up up a notch to be close to the top, not necessarily like make them like they were in Destiny 1, but
Right. Right.
like just give them some power.
Yeah, I agree with that. Risk Runner, the next one. I think Risk Runner's in a pretty good place too. Maybe just an SMG buff. I mean, Risk Runner's really powerful already.
Yeah, but do you use that in any high level activities?
I'm not an SMG guy though. I
Yeah,
just
neither am I.
I would if that was an auto rifle. I would. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I wish they would make it an auto rifle, give it a little bit more range and more impact, and
I mean,
maybe-
it's not bad. Like I have used it. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's not something I'm against using. It's just kind of like meh. It's just one that like I will
Yeah.
actively not use something like the Jade Rabbit, but with a lot of these exotics, it's just like I don't think they. I mean, they have exotic perks, but why? You know?
yeah. Well, I mean, the original thought behind exotics is they were supposed to like differentiate themselves from legendary weapons, and like
Yeah.
Risk Runner does have a perk that legendary weapons can't get, which is kind of cool, but I don't think it's like a huge step above legendary
Yeah.
weapons.
I think one thing that was really cool, they said that they don't want to really do any major reworks with exotics because they want them to feel still very unique and they want them to continue down the uniqueness path that they've already crafted for them. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that's a really cool way of looking at it. And that kind of applies there. I think that it just needs to, instead of just completely, redoing and changing the Risk Runner to make it something we already have, keeping it being unique and just kind of fine-tuning that, I think that's definitely more of a better way to approach these things. I mean, that same thing can really be said for, the Sturm and all of these. They're pretty cool. Actually, I don't think the Sturm has a very good exotic perk. Just being able, I think it's just you never have to reload, essentially, and it's...
Yeah, it's kind of a good PvE perk, but you have to realize what you're using and really focus on that
Yeah,
rather than just
it's-
shooting things.
It's got one of those things. You have to go like way out of your way to use that perk, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no insane benefit from it. So, meh. That's something that I wouldn't be too really aggravated if they completely changed that exotic perk. But like I said, it seems like that's really not what they're going for. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing there. Next one, the Darcy. Look, man. In order to make the Darcy good, you would have to change like sniper rifles as a whole, in my opinion. Same thing, I guess, with the Borealis too. I don't have any ideas for these. So the Darcy, maybe make it highlight an enemy's critical point. Maybe give you some more kind of like latent aim assist towards an enemy's critical point. I think that would be pretty cool. But like I don't. There's nothing that like when I look at Darcy, there's nothing that jumps out at me and is like, it needs this. It's just a sniper rifle in Destiny 2 is my problem with it. So yeah.
So would you be against them like not like an auto aim, but like say you mark a target with a laser sight that you have to actually hit the target, like make it easier to swing snipe or hit that target?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like I said, if they added some latent aim assist, just a little bit, where you were the cursor kind of dragged more towards those, I think that would be a good thing. I think that would make it feel exotic, but once again, like that would make it way easier to quickscope, and then we're getting back into D1 territory, and that's not something I'm very excited about, to be completely honest. So, I'll be interested to see how they fix snipers as a whole. They did say that there was that visual bug where they actually have to go in and redo a lot of the 3D modeling because something was off with the recoil patterns or something. I mean, they didn't go really in depth and explain that one, but it sounds like it was a pretty deep problem in the code. So it'll be interesting to see if that makes Darcy any bit better. I just think the maps in general with Destiny 2 are kind of too small for a sniper rifle, and I feel like in PvE they don't do anywhere near enough damage to be competitive.
Or you don't get the ammo to even make them competitive.
That as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because the ammo reserve for snipers isn't that great.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just all of those things. I guess we'll see how they end up responding to it. Like I said, same thing goes for Borealis. Although from my videos, I get the kind of basic impression that people actually really like the Borealis in PS because I guess it's really useful to have. I haven't heard anyone like really rave about it, but everyone's saying that's pretty much better than the Darcy without a doubt. So, I guess that's good. The Crimson, I think the only thing they could really do to the Crimson is just increase reserve ammo. I feel like personally it's in a really good spot. Maybe make it do a tad more damage. I really like the Crimson where it is though. I don't know. I think you can make it a little bit more competitive in Crucible. In PvE, it's exactly where it needs to be. Like I said, just more reserve ammo. You know, give it a pulse rifle's worth of reserve ammo, not a hand cannon. But I mean, other than that, Crimson's pretty solid. Fighting Lion, someone in chat had a really good suggestion for this one. Make Fighting Lion like excuse me, this is from Tennessee fam. Make Fighting Lion like a fusion grenade. They stick to players and it won't be super amazing because it has one nade per reload. That maybe give
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, give it a little bit of aim assist, especially because it does take 2 grenades to kill someone. It's just, I think the thing with the Fighting Lion is that's another like really, really thin, dangerous line. Like if you make that shoot really powerful grenades, that's borderline overpowered. So you got to be really careful. I'm really interested to see what they do with the Fighting Lion. I hope it's good. I hate getting trash talked in my ranking videos because I'm like, these guns aren't good, and people are like, you're just bad. Like, make me want to use the weapon, Bungie. I want to like every exotic. I don't want an exotic to be.
Yeah, and I mean the niche for Fighting Lion is it does what it sets out to do. It just doesn't do it well, I guess. You know, making it a grenade launcher that's in your secondary slot. So it just, you can't, it's not a powerful weapon or powerful enough to, you know, get consistent kills with it. Like maybe like if you're going for teammate, like if it's just going for assists and not kills, so then you can partially take down people's shields and then let your teammates finish it off. But you have to get good at it too. So
yeah, I think the thing is, it's kind of like snipers. Like you have to be really careful. That's something that could very easily become just like super broken. So I think they were wary of that. I would rather a weapon be underpowered than overpowered. Definitely any day of the week. So yeah, I don't know. That's one of those hard things. Prospector, I have no idea. I have honestly zero idea.
I think because the whatchamacallit is so much better right now.
Colony?
The Colony. Like, you're going to have to give it a bigger blast radius, something.
I think for PvE, it would be really cool if you made each subsequent grenade do more damage, because it's fully auto. So make them explode on impact, and it's like, boom, 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 and it just gets more powerful every time. I think that would be pretty cool. I think that would be definitely really cool.
Yeah, that would work. Or, like, if you shoot all in a cluster, then, like, it triples the size of the explosion radius or something, because, like, you can hold them all on the ground. It's just, like, make it viable for PvE, and give us a reason to use other, like, that's the whole thing. Like, we talked about this a little bit last week. There's pretty much set loadouts for every encounter, and I want to be able to use other weapons in PvE encounters, especially raids, like, make other things viable. So, like, half the team can use this and half the team can use another weapon, and then, you know, like, it just makes it more fun because you're not just constantly the same loadout over and over again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Legend of Acreus, literally perfect. Oh, they said they're not doing anything to it.
No, they're not doing anything.
Because it's perfect.
But the next one.
the next one.
Tractor cannon.
Tractor cannon. What list are you looking at?
I'm on DestinyTracker.com.
Oh, I'm on Destiny sets. That's really funny. It must be coded a certain way in the API. Tractor cannon, definitely. I don't know what they could do.
Here's what I think.
Okay,
they should
go ahead.
Make it like a. So right now, it just like pushes enemies. I don't know how much damage it does because I literally used it for like.
You can one-shot people if you are like touching them. You can one-shot people with it. anything else, if they slam into a wall, it'll do like 175 damage or so.
So my thought is it should be like a I don't know how often you've played Street Fighter 2, but like a
0 times.
like a fireball from or a Mega Man blaster cannon type thing where
Okay.
it shoots like a fireball type, not necessarily a fireball, but like just like plasma out that hurts the enemy, but it doesn't, obviously it won't do the damage of a normal shotgun, but it still does a decent amount of damage to where 2 shots can kill in PvP, and then like, you know, it's something that you can mow through enemies and kind of push them back in PvE, because right now it's basically a troll cannon, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, every game needs those, but not when you have so many like unusable exotics as it is in certain situations. Like, you got to start giving some of them some utility in certain aspects of the game, in my opinion.
I think a really cool one would be sort of like that, but instead of the plasma, like it's like a ball like that, but it goes for, let's say, 50 feet, and it's just continuous force pushing on the side of that. So if you shoot it for 50 feet, anything standing relatively close to it, let's say like within 3 or 4 feet, will be boots. Will be pushed. My chat likes to call it boots. Will be pushed back. So like if I were to shoot at you, Josh is standing behind you, Turtles is standing behind him. All 3 of you guys will be just flung, and maybe don't do as much damage.
So would it do area of effect damage on the ball as it's shooting out?
No.
Let's say they get
No, just push people off, because that would help make. Oh, it's just this one guy. Oh, okay, never mind. It would help make it more viable in PvE as well. Say you have like 50 Vex coming at you, one shot, boom, they're all displaced. Something like the Thunder Cannon or the Thunder Gun from Call of Duty Zombies. I don't know if you've ever played Kino, but it's essentially just one giant wind blast, and it pushes everything for quite a bit away. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I know that you hate the word that I'm about to say, but there's a ability in Warframe where they shoot out like a ball of I don't know what it would be called. It's kind of like lightning, but anything that comes within like a 5 meter radius like takes like electricity damage of it. So it whittles down their shields, and it kind of just like, but it moves decently slow. So it'd be something that you could shoot and then switch to another weapon, and it kind of takes down their shields as it passes by them, and then you can finish them off.
I think if they were going to do that with any exotic, I think that's more in line with what they wanted to do with the Fighting Lion. I just think with them trying to stick with their original ideas, I feel like the tractor cannon is more of a fun thing, and I think it's like tractor, you know, like a tractor beam, like pushing or pulling. Yeah. I think it's very much supposed to be based on gravity. So I think that would be a cool concept for the Fighting Lion. I just don't know. I think with a lot of this stuff, you have to remember, like, they're trying to make the biggest changes possible with the least amount of development time. And that's why the Graviton Lance is getting Axion darts and not like a gravity wave effect or whatever. Because it's something that's already coded in the game that they just have to reapply.
So what if they had an alternate fire that pulled the enemy towards you?
That would be really cool. If you could shoot, like, you couldn't aim down with it. Left trigger to pull an enemy, let's say within like 50 feet, closer to you, and then right trigger to push him away. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Well, because it would lock the enemy on, so they'd be pulling towards your tractor cannon, then you could push them. Yeah.
That I think that's the greatest idea for an exotic I've ever heard.
It'd be fun.
Just be like, whoop, boom.
Yeah.
And like, if the longer you hold an enemy in the tractor beam, the further they go when you reverse it.
Well, and then the more damage they would do if they hit a wall or whatever.
Oh man, that's an awesome
or the ultimate would be is if like you could shoot an enemy into another one and they both take damage. That would be awesome.
That would be really cool too. That would be really cool. Yeah, definitely a fan of that one. What's the next one? Graviton Lance, I mean, is going to be top tier. I'm very interested to see how the 2-round burst thing performs. That's an odd one, so we'll see.
That might be my new PvP exotic, because I forget what gun it is in real life, but there's a gun in real life that does a 2-round burst, because it literally goes boop boop, you know, so you can double tap to the body or to the head, basically to get through body armor. But I mean, it's the same concept. So we'll see. We'll see how much, because they were saying they were trying to cut down the recoil on it too.
Yeah, I mean, everything about the gun's just better, and I think it'll be really cool. because I presume they're keeping it the same fire rate, that means you'll actually have to be able to fire more rounds per second, because now burst per second, because now a burst shoots less bullets. So it'll actually have to shoot 33% faster to keep the same fire rate, which is something that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that'll be good, because we were using it today, Ratul and honestly, it's not that bad right now. I mean, it's not. It's inconsistent, but if you can hit that last shot, it melts. It's a 3 burst kill. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Well, that was the exotic I was most excited for when the game came out, and it kind of let me down to where I stopped using it, even though like I probably should have, just to get good with it.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the punch on PvE that I wanted either, and that's primarily where you want to use a weapon that kind of has a area of effect.
Yeah.
Type thing. So.
I'm very interested to see how they fix it. I'm very excited to use it, especially like I said with this new ornament. I mean, it's freaking gorgeous. So, I mean, it's got the coolest concept out of like any exotic ever. It sounds so cool. It looks awesome. We just need the utility out of it. I'm pretty excited about that. Vigilant Swing isn't being touched. Jade Rabbit. I know they said they don't want to redo any exotic perks. Jade Rabbit just needs a new exotic perk. It's nothing special. Unlimited ammo. You can do the same thing in a Titan Barrier. I think you do, like, if you get 2 body shots, your headshot does more damage. It's still the same number of shots to kill in Crucible. There are countless legendary scout rifles that can outplay it, no problem. Jade Rabbit just needs to be completely reworked. There's no way it's a good exotic.
My thought is, right now they have body shots do additional headshot damage. I think headshot should do additional headshot damage. Each subsequent one, like, so it keeps stacking.
Oh.
Not like a huge multiplier, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I always drop it from like a 5 bullet kill to a 4 bullet kill. Although I think it's already a 4. Maybe, I don't want to make anything a 3 bullet kill, because that'll be kind of crazy. But yeah, I get what you're saying, though. But
it would reward, like, consecutive headshots, because it's just fire slower, so you have to hit every headshot for it to be, but it has the highest or the lowest time to kill if you do hit that.
Right.
But like, you've got to give it something, just because it's not at all powerful.
Right. Colony, did they say? Yeah, they're not touching Colony. The next one's the one everyone in chat is talking about, the Hard Light. I absolutely agree needs to be... it's pretty good in PvE. It's supposedly one of the top damages on Argos. Hard Light has terrible recoil and range. Hard Light has maxed out range, so it probably doesn't have terrible range. Hard Light is so bad, needs an everything buff. Because there is no range fall off, no damage fall off on Hard Light, it does a lot of damage on Argos. I don't think
if they're going to keep everything the same, I think that they should just give it almost no recoil, just because it does so little damage as it is, especially in PvP. That will allow it to be a little bit. I don't know, because like you said, it's good against Argos, but like, what other PvE thing would you use that in?
Zero. Yeah, exactly. I think also the ability to change elements needs to be
on
the fly, like the Borealis. They have the utility to do it. Just do it. Like, it's not that hard.
I completely agree with that, because especially like if you pick the wrong element in a hard nightfall, or you have to go back into your menu and then into the weapon menu, and then come all the way back out. You're dead by that time. Most raids or any activity like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Merciless.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading chat. Merciless isn't being changed. Good, because it's my baby. Skyburner's Oath. John Wazinski actually tweeted out saying that they were having some awesome fights between the Graviton Lance and the Skyburner's Oath. Skyburner's Oath, I have always been a proponent of switching it. It should shoot faster from the hip. No, excuse me. It should shoot slower from the hip and faster when you're aiming down sights. It currently shoots faster from the hip. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make...
Well, it's supposed to be as a Cabal is charging you, you can, put it on your hip and back up and shoot it faster. But it should do more damage as you're, like, walking away.
Yeah. But just think, in real life, if you're firing a gun, if you're aiming from the hip, you're not going to just like because you're going to, one, dislocate your arm, and two, you're going to be super inaccurate. You're going to take your time. But when you're aiming down sight, you have a target in your sights. Now you have the ability to shoot faster because you're being more accurate. Like, I don't understand why it was ever flipped. It definitely needs to be the other way around. And then I get that it's also a Cabal-themed weapon, but now that we're out of the main story of Destiny 2, you never fight Cabal anymore. So you need to give it more utility against like every race and switch everything.
So that was the weapon that I was second most excited for behind the Graviton Lance. And
wow, dude, you picked some really crappy weapons to be excited for.
No, just for the utility that I thought it was going to be beastly in the raid, and it was terrible. Like, I mean, I don't say it was terrible, but it wasn't anywhere where I thought it should be, or where, you know, I thought it was going to be just like mowing through Cabal, and it didn't. Like, it was nice to shoot through shields, but it's so easy to knock them down anyways. It wasn't as big a deal.
One of my favorite stories on YouTube to this day, on my ranking video, I was very purposely showing off while talking about it in the clip, shooting through a Cabal shield. And there's a comment, and he was like, wow, this guy doesn't even know how to shoot around a phalanx shield. What an idiot. It was like, it always makes me so happy when people like throw insults on me, but they're being just such big dumbasses. It just makes me, it's just like, oh God. But yeah, so I agree Skyburners needs to be a little bit cooler. I think it'd be awesome to retain some of the functionality of the Skyburners Annex from Destiny 1, the helmet. If they made it, you know, on double kills, you produced a mini orb or something. I think that would be pretty cool. Although, it would also be really interesting because they would have to kind of work around the exotic masterwork thing, which is coming very, very soon. They said they're going to be talking about it. So I presume exotic masterworks are also going to produce an orb. So maybe instead of like a small orb whenever it's masterworked, it would produce a big one or something. That would be cool. That would be pretty cool. Person in chat, Arlo, what do you think about having a fourth slot for shotgun, snipers, and fusion rifles instead of them being power weapons? I think it is way too late in Destiny 2's life cycle for that. If they're going to do that in anything, it would be Destiny 3 next year. But also, you know how annoying that is? Like, we're all used to 3 slots. Y to switch from your primaries or, you know, your secondaries in Destiny 1, and you hold Y to get to your heavy or power weapons. You can't just introduce a fourth thing to that, because it will destroy muscle memory, and it would be extremely clunky. And, like, what else would you do? Would you just have 3 weapons that you change between with Y? Would you, whenever you held... Like, there's no good way to do that, in my opinion. So I don't like that. I think in Destiny 3, they will most likely go back to the primary, secondary, heavy system. I would imagine, at least. It would make sense to me that they went back to it. I don't mind this system. I actually kind of like the system more. But I think it's easier to balance with the... primary, secondary, heavy weapon system. So, and it would be something to market too. Like, they're like, oh, Destiny 3, we return back to the model of blah blah blah. So yeah, I think they're probably going to go back to that for Destiny 3. What do you think, Jay-Z?
Yeah, I mean, it's got so much back. I like it though, personally.
Wait, which one? The
current model.
Yeah, I like the current model a lot too.
Because I think it takes more skill in both game modes, and it also gives you much more variation as far as when you're in raid activities. Exactly. As far as you can have one close range weapon, one far range, and then like your power weapon, you know, that type of thing. So
yeah,
I'd be okay with them keeping it, honestly. But I know everybody else is, well, not everybody else, but a lot of people are complaining about it.
Right.
So that they're more likely to move it back.
Right. And just to clarify, Dead Memes asks, wait, there's a new Destiny coming out? I didn't hear about this. So the deal with Activision originally is one Destiny game every 2 years. So we have a Destiny release. A year from that, we get a Taken King style expansion. And then a year from that, we get the sequel. With Destiny 1, that did not work out due to Destiny 2 being delayed for a little bit. That's why we got Rise of Iron and nothing for the entirety of year 3. But technically, if I understand this correctly, there should only be 2 years of every Destiny game. So yeah, we will get Taking Queen in September. Ideally, we'll get 2 more DLCs, one in the winter, one in the spring, and then we will get Destiny 3. I mean, ideally, like I said, If they have to delay it, I would much rather them delay it to make a better game.
Would that be ideal for you? Yeah, because I don't know. I don't want Destiny 3 after 2 years. I like the 3-year life cycle personally.
I like the 3-year life cycle if they can support it with content. But also if like we needed Destiny 3 to kind of revitalize the franchise, get people to stop bitching about Destiny 2, maybe make any changes because like it makes a lot more sense to make these big changes, like the changes in weapon systems going across sequels rather than just implementing it. It would make a lot more sense to introduce like an artifact system in Destiny 2 rather than in the Taken King, although they kind of did the opposite of that. But I think the point still stands. It just makes more sense to redesign the core systems for like a new engine. So I think that's when they would be more likely to do it. Double tap the Y button or square to go to the 4 slot. No, because I hit Y. I like double tap it whenever I'm like bored. Like whenever I'm just running around, I'm just Y. I do that in like every one of my videos ever. You guys can check it out. Yeah, I don't know. I really like the kinetic energy thing. I think it makes exotics more interesting. I think it gets rid of a lot of the annoyances that I personally had with Destiny 1. People primarying shotguns, people primarying sniper rifles. But it also makes things like sniper rifles a lot harder to balance. So, I don't know. It's Bungie's game. I'm going to enjoy it either way. That was a sexy throwing knife. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do. I'll play it no matter what, so there's that. A weapon wheel system, asks Epic Gamer. No, that was just too hard. Now everyone's trying to make a simple system too difficult. What's wrong? Look, you hit Y to switch, you hold Y to go to your power ammo. It doesn't get more simple than that. Anything else is just convoluting the system unnecessarily. Like, I don't think we need that 4th slot. I think they just need to balance the things in the slots that they're currently in. Or go back to the Destiny 1 system. Either way, I think either one of those is a lot better than a 4th slot, in my opinion, of course.
Yes. Agreed.
I think that's too much ammo economy to balance. That's too many combinations that it's just...
It's going to blow up the game with all the ammo bricks on the ground if there's 4 different types.
Exactly. And just think about all the balancing they would now have to do because they'd have to instead of getting sniper once a game, you get it 3 times a game because it's in the special hidden XXYY no scope slot. You gotta think about these things. I think it would be way more tedious than it would be worth, in my opinion.
Well, the 3 weapons just make sense, like overall, anyways. Just like you should only be able to carry 3 weapons on you, unless you have this magical guardian backpack. Like. like Zelda has the little pouch that can shrink everything down.
Boom.
Yeah.
No, I just think there's a lot of things. I think, on the subject of change, I think we need to stop looking at broad brush stroke changes, like adding a 4th slot. It's very general. I think that'll just make this system, like I said, unnecessarily convoluted. I think the way that Bungie's going, where they're making these huge changes to exotic weapons to make them feel more exotic. My hope is in Destiny 2, we won't have any Suros regimes in year 3. We won't have any Monte Carlos. We won't have any Fabian strategies. I did not mean to name 3 exotic auto rifles, but it turns out exotic auto rifles have a history of not being very good.
You weren't there when the
but it was also for like a month. Come on.
No, it was up until January-ish, so it was first 4 months.
Okay, so like 4 months. Okay.
Yeah, and it was amazing. It was fun. I loved it.
Okay, I did clarify year 3. I said Soros was
year
3.
Okay, I got you.
That.
I didn't hear you on that. My bad.
Arlo, you could switch to your 4th weapon by pressing down the left stick. I spaz so much during gunfights. That is a terrible idea.
That's a run button. Where would
right? No, right. He corrected himself. Right stick. I still spaz so much. That's your looking thing, man. I would be I'd be looking, and then all of a sudden in the middle of a gunfight, I'd like bring out a sniper rifle. Like, that is not what I wanted to do. I think that's a bad system. It's a cool... I like that you're being creative with trying to fix it. I think that is the wrong way to go about it, though.
There's just way too much development and creative time that would take to implement something like that.
Exactly. But I mean, all around, the exotic changes, like I said, are heading in the right direction. If the Graviton Lance is any indication of how much time and, they're really doctoring these things to make sure everything goes really well, I think that this will be very, 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 very good for Destiny. And that's a lot of varies.
A couple more varies in there.
That's a lot of varies, guys. I mean, it's like... these are going to be big changes, and it's good. The game needs some big changes. I think the community wants to see some big changes. It'll be really interesting to see what they do, and I'm super excited for that. And yeah, I don't know, man. Epic Gamer Fails, has there been any word on exotic armor changes? Yes, they did say that they are going to be balancing exotic armor as well. I just think that exotic armor is a little bit not as important to balance. I think in general, armor's not as important to balance as weapons. I think it does need to be balanced, but I'd much rather them focus on exotic weapons than armor. Personally, I don't know.
Oh yeah, weapons are the core of your experience, especially in a Destiny.
Yeah.
With its shooting mechanics so finely tuned. Armor's not... I mean, like, I think they should rework some of the perks on armor, but that... fix your weapons first and make the game more fun to play on that aspect, and then you can worry about that.
And there's not too many armor pieces that... like, it really matters that they're broken. Or not broken, like Lucky Pants, no one really uses those, but it's not, it's kind of like, they're cool in the lore. It fits like one build in the entire game, but it's kind of like, it's not negatively impacting my experience. But things like the Graviton Lance, like, I actually wake up in cold sweats sometimes because I'm like, I just need this weapon to be good, Like, is that not normal? What?
Well, I mean, like, other than look, how you look and a few of the minor stats, armor doesn't play close to as big of a role in your experience. Again, like, I'm reiterating what I just said, but like, the Graviton Lance might be fun to play with now, once they make this change, like, and it might be useful in more than any mode, like, and making it useful period is going to be fun. So yeah.
And on top of that, I don't know how everyone else is with this, but I actually, like, a lot of the time get uncomfortable running an exotic because it ruins my, like, perfect set. Like, I'll be wearing the full prestige gear and I'm like, oh, I gotta put on my Celestial Nighthawk, let's just ruin this complete set. Great. Same thing, that happens a lot more in PvP. Like, I like to rock my full sets because, I worked hard to get them. If I work to get a freaking arm piece with a cool glow on it, I don't want to take it off. So, but that doesn't happen with weapons. I'm never like, oh, I need to be running 3 of the Garden Progeny weapons, or the, whatever they're called, the forged weapons. I don't need to be, like, I'm never like, oh, I need to be running 3 Callus weapons right now. But I kind of do that with armor. Once again, could be just a weird Scarrow thing. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it probably is. It wouldn't surprise me, but,
Yeah. Arlo, Scarrow, do you think Bungie will continue to make Destiny games after Destiny 4? I think someone will. It depends on the state of the franchise, but it's like, kind of like with Halo. Bungie was done with Halo. They didn't really want to work on it anymore, so they kind of gave it to people who did want to. And honestly, I think it's always good to look forward to the future, but I think Destiny's a lot different of a game than Halo. I think if these developers put in times of their life and they get really connected with this franchise and with the characters, I definitely see them going past the 10-year model, maybe even with a different publisher. I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. Go ahead.
I think you were a little wrong on the Bungie didn't want to make any more Halo games. They didn't own the rights to Halo. Microsoft did. And they wanted to make their own franchise that they owned the rights to, and I think that's why they moved on to Destiny, but they got a publisher that allowed them to retain those rights upon, the completion of the 10-year or whatever they signed the contract for.
I just think from a business standpoint, not Eric Hirschberg, who's Pete Parsons, the CEO of Bungie, who he's stepping down, right? No, Eric Hirschberg's stepping down. Someone's stepping down. One of the CEOs, one of the important people. I just think from a business standpoint, in 10 years, if the franchise is still going strong, you're not going to, from business-wise, you're not going to want to die. B, you're not going to let it die. B, the player base is not going to want it to go away. see, like I said, you know, if Luke Smith and Christopher Barrett or whoever is running the game in 6 years, you know, is still connected with this and there's still like personal investment. I mean, like Halo's a little bit different. Yeah, it has a great story, but you just, you know, it's essentially a Call of Duty with a better story. Destiny's not like that. I mean, everything is very much more in depth. It's kind of like World of Warcraft. I'm sure there's been some points in time where World of Warcraft was kind of up in the air, like, will it continue? What's going on? Or kind of like a Diablo or something. But, you know, this is a huge, gigantic universe that has done incredible things in real life. Broken records, you know, these people, it's formed relationships that have raised millions of dollars for charities and just the most ridiculous stuff ever. And Bungie's going to continue being a studio after Destiny's done. So why would you start over from scratch when you have a flagship franchise? Why would you pull a Gearbox is what I'm asking. I don't think they will. I think they're... Oh, sorry, Gearbox. You're coming back with Borderlands 3. We love you still. I think Destiny's fine. I think it'll be, for a while, it'll be part of pop culture.
I think they'll eventually go the way of other major publishers and become their own studio, and Destiny's one of their games that they release on a time schedule, and then they'll have other projects that they work on instead of just one game at a time like they do now.
Yeah. So become their own Activision, you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I think that's why they wanted to own the IP.
Music artists usually become their own record labels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be awesome, especially to have like the creative control, like to not be limited to doing micro events or microtransactions and that sort of stuff. I think that's definitely. I mean, I can see them doing that. I mean, I don't see Destiny going anywhere. Is what I'm saying. Yes, I think after Destiny 4, after 10 years of Destiny, I think Destiny will still be around.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they keep innovating, or find ways to innovate the franchise, or just make it like. Eventually just make it like a World of Warcraft type thing, like we want for it to be just an expanding universe.
Yeah.
That I think that'll be the ultimate goal of Destiny, and I think that's what the original vision might have been for the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they'll be good though. James Kohler, I really want them to change Rat King to a hand cannon and give it a hand cannon buff. That's not going to happen. They need sidearm exotics. I think that's the only sidearm exotic in the game. Yeah, it's going to stay a sidearm. I agree that it would be, if it had more hand cannon qualities, it might be a little bit better. But I think it thematically fits better as a sidearm, and they need exotic sidearms. So I think there's that. And speaking of, where's my exotic swords at? Where's my Raze Lighter? Come on, Bungie. What the heck?
Like, that was... That and the Dark Drinker were the two DPS kings of some boss
Well, that's
battles.
also the thing. Like, Destiny 2's not really built like that, though. You have significantly less sword ammo. A lot of the bosses you can't even, like, reach with swords. Things like, you know, Savathun's Song, Argos, Callus. You wouldn't be able to damage any of these guys with swords. I don't think they would be as powerful, but I think it would still be a lot of fun. I want some exotic swords.
Fun. So, yeah, swords are fun. So give us a animation with them that's cool.
Yeah. Arlo, do you think a Destiny prequel will be likely for a next game? No, never. I don't think they'll ever go backwards. I think we will continue to explore things through Grimoire, but I mean, we're quite literally still following the same Guardian. I think we will continue to do so until the franchise ends. Only forward, in my opinion. Well, we might have something with time travel where we get to go back and see like flashbacks of an event or maybe help out. But I think the way that they're really doing that is like with the Saint 14 storyline where we're actually the people that inspired Saint 14. And so, you know, Six Fronts, even though we weren't there, it's kind of our fault in a good way. Like the survival ladder, or not Six Front. No, yeah, Six Fronts and Twilight Gap. That's kind of our fault, and that's good. So I think that's how they're going to continue doing it. Bungie doesn't really seem like a prequel kind of studio. I guess they did Halo Reach, but once again, not. Did they do Halo Reach?
Yeah, they did. They did Reach, and they did ODST, which was kind of not, but kind of it was. Yeah. It was
once again, though, this is like our story. This is our Guardian. You know, we in Halo, you're following Master Chief in just the universe as a whole. This is not that. This is a lot different. So no, I don't see them doing that. I don't think that would really fit in very well either. You have all this awesome stuff, and then you go back and you just don't anymore. I don't think that'd be very cool.
I could see them doing I don't even know if they could do that, like a Destiny 1 remake. like eventually, like down the road?
I don't see. It's a lot easier to remake games that don't require server space and constant stuff. I don't think so. I think if they do anything like that, they'll just bring like Destiny 1 areas back to Destiny 2 or something. Eventually, I would like to see Mars and Venus. I mean, we get Mars next DLC. We'll see how much of it's open. I think it'd be really cool if we got a huge chunk of Mars as a patrol zone, and then also as like a cool throwback. Hey, you can go explore some of the places you explored in Destiny 1. I think that would be really cool. I think that'd be really cool. I guess we'll see if they do it. I can hold my breath, but we'll see.
But we'll talk about that as it gets closer as well.
Yeah. I mean, we still have 3 months until the next DLC, so who knows? An exotic sword that would make things explode. That would be pretty cool, like a icebreaker sword. I think that would be pretty cool. I think this is going to be the last one. Tennessee fam, do you think that Bungie will add an exotic quest for emotes, sparrows, and emblems? They said that there's going to be faction stuff per season, kind of not faction-themed exotics, but faction-themed loot based on your progression with a faction in a season. I think that's as far as we're going to get. I don't really see them making an exotic quest for a sparrow or an emblem. I mean, that's just kind of lackluster, you know? I think the point of having exotic weapons at the end of a quest is because it gives you something tangible that you can actually use and make you feel really powerful and stuff. I don't think it would go over so well with it. I think the best way to do things like emblems is, you know, with the comic book where there's the secret Morse code, and with like sparrows and ships and stuff, keep them tied to certain events, and I think that's the best way to do that. Do you disagree or agree with all of that, Jay-Z?
I agree.
Yeah?
I agree.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's pretty much gonna be the stream, I think. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Thanks as always for people coming out. Sorry YouTube bugged out a little bit there at the beginning, but stuff happens, I guess. All around, I think a good thing to take from this week's episode and this week in Destiny in general, which I'm really glad that weekly we now get new looks into the franchise in the future and stuff. I think live events are going in the perfect direction. I will only expect them to continue to be perfect, and I hope that I'm not disappointed. And exotics are looking like they're going to be really good, and I can't wait to spend hours of my life playing with each of the exotics, doing reviews, and then once again ranking everything for you guys, because people really like those videos, and I can't wait to see how long that's going to take. So woots. Yeah, but that being said, I am Scaro9. Thank you guys for coming out and watching. You can, if you want updates on my live streams and videos, especially with my schedule being busier, things are going to be more impromptu and stuff. So make sure you go follow me on Twitter at Scaro9. Very simple. You're obviously on my YouTube, so there's that. And Jay-Z, do your thing.
Yeah, JZ Basketball 25 on the Twitters and the Xbox.
There we go. Once again, just for general updates and stuff, follow us. It's pretty, it's been a good set of weeks. Next week, I believe we'll get some more insight, maybe into Exotic Masterworks. They seem to be giving us like one big thing every week, which is definitely exciting. Also going to be faction rallies, so if there's any new exploits or stuff found for tokens, you can find all those guides here. But until then, once again, I'm Scaro9. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 51 of the Last Word podcast. Really excited for the future. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.